Absolutely.
You have questions?
Yeah, so I had a weird extraterrestrial experience when I was in the mountains. It seemed like I was getting like a clairaudient message about this Sesani, and I couldn't understand what it was. And then I Googled it, and it seems like Bashar is channeling a race called, I think it is Sesani from the planet Sesani, which is like a grey human hybrid. And there was a kind of statue in our hotel room that was very, very closely looked like one of them. And then Lawrence also guessed right that it was one of those beings. So why did that race have to come to me?
Because that race has been active with that mountain pass where you have been. They have many coves on the inside there where they have bases on the inside, and they move to and from. They are involved in a lot of different frequencies, not specifically good or bad, but just to their own agenda where they are doing their own things. They are, as we could say, we do not want to use the word hijack, but they have overtaken that energy point. And it was almost that you came with your flame to reset. And they were not too pleasant about it. They were not too happy for the reset because it means that they can no longer stream from that energy. But they did not mean to do any harm. They wanted more to interact with you in order to make a connection.
Yes. Is that why I was feeling like throwing up every night? Why was that?
Yes, but it was more that you were throwing up because your flame was channeling in to push them, in a sense, out. It was almost to give an eviction notice, to say that they have been allowed there and they were not doing any harm, but now because of the new energy stream that has to come through there and this new dimensional frequency, they are not allowed to be active there anymore, and they just need to move to a different space. They do not necessarily need to leave the planet.
Yes.
And it was more just about that resistance, and it is more that they would want to come into your field, to talk to your energy, to kind of reason to stay, but it is they needed to go.
But I kept on telling them, please talk to me, I can't hear you, and they didn't.
They were not there to talk to you. They were there to talk to your divine energy. They were trying to reason with your highest self, if you want to put it into that perspective. They were reasoning with the frequency coming through you and not specifically with you as the vessel.
Okay. Is that why I couldn't sleep every night as well?
Yes,
And the
because
heat.
every time that they were busy talking and pleading, you kept waking up into this scenario.
Yeah.
It is almost that there were times that you picked up on the conversation and you heard things moving in and out, but your frequency was trying to shield you from that because it had nothing to do with you specifically.
Okay. But is it also where I saw that kind of heart-shaped cove in the mountain that I really wanted to go to? You're saying they lived in...
Yes.
Or did they live there or whatever?
Yes, they live on the inside there and they travel to and from. It is almost one of their, as we could say, observing stations. But like we say, it is not a bad thing, but they are not doing necessarily good either. So it is to just say that they can no longer harness that energy and that frequency for their stuff and their abilities and their, as we could say, research into things. They had to move. They were able to be placed to other places inside of the Drakensberg mountains, but they had to move from that specific spot because quite a wide range of that now is stemming out the 8th dimensional frequency, and that frequency is too harsh for their vessels and they were going to get sick and die. They would have to move, but they did not want to move their colonies. However, it was instructed to them when they went there that there would be a time that they would have to shift, and that is why your frequency was there, and your frequency of your highest energy went there as the eviction notice to say this had to open. The same with Natasha. She was doing that in the mountains where she was. There was a lot of, as we could say, activity there as well that she was pushing out. We blocked it quite well for her, but there was a time that she got very violently ill and sick, and she thought it was maybe just from the hike and that she was eating all these acidic foods, but it was more that it was an attack on the frequency to stop it, but it did not take place because the flame has pushed it out.
Yes, but it seemed like Bashar channels Sesani, but they're like a very higher dimensional hybrid species, futuristic hybrid species between humans and greys. So is that not someone that would be allowed to live there?
It is not that they are not allowed to live there. That is why they were shifted to a different part of the mountain. As we say, they are not bad, but they are not, as we could say, in that purpose per se. It is to say more where they stem from, it is more a 6-dimensional frequency,
Yes.
where the frequency stemming to the mountain is an 8th-dimensional frequency.
Okay.
That is the first time that the 8th dimension is streaming through anything in nature for the first time on this planet ever. This is what this synchronicity and this jump was about. So now they cannot live there because it is going to mess with their frequency and it's going to make their people sick. They had to move to just another space in the same mountain region. They are not being removed from the experience or the planet because they are not doing harm. But it is just on that specific spot that they chose, they had to move because this energy would be even too intense for them.
Okay. And why, when I went on my hike, we couldn't find that heart-shaped cove? We were directed to another point, and I wanted to go. I had a very strong desire to go to that cavern. Why couldn't we
Because
get
you were
there?
not supposed to go there. They have shielded you from going there because of that, the frequency and the interaction. It is to say, in the sense of that was not the purpose. The purpose was the activation and not the physical meeting of the things. It is just that your frequency had to go and align the spark to pull from here that string so that that frequency can take place for the next step. Because that is the same thing what you two will do with your travels. Everywhere you go, you are activating points and spots. And there is going to be many extraterrestrial races and different beings in the spots that you activate. But you are not going there to meet them. You're going there to open up those channels. Only at the end, when all the channels are activated, then interaction with different beings will start to take place. Because then it will be set more, as we could say, where your vessels and the beings' vessels can handle the vibrations. But at this point, it was not permitted, therefore you could not go.
Yes, and why, if I had to go to that heart-shaped cavern, what would have happened?
It is not that what would have happened to you, it is what would have happened to them.
Okay. And why was the door constantly opening when I was sitting on the toilet to kind of expose that carved statue of them?
Because they were trying to telepathically communicate with you, but your frequency was blocking it off the whole time. There was also one part where they jumped into your dream state and were working through your dreams. However, this was blocked off from you as well because it has nothing to do with your purpose going forward. Therefore, it was not seen as value for you to take in.
Yes, okay. And why did we not go to Lesotho? Because it's the same mountain range.
But that was not the spot that you needed to go and activate. You had to be there specifically, and that is why you were led there.
Yes. Okay, but why me specifically? Why do I have to do that work?
Because you and Natasha hold a frequency. This is the thing. You two need to start accepting this. This is not, as we could say, a game. This is not something that we just place out of nowhere and thin air. You two are here with specific purpose. You two hold a specific type of frequency. That is why you do the sessions and bring in this information. When you bring in the information, it is not that you are bringing in literal physical information. You are bringing in information of frequency that can set on the planet to open up the doors to these highest dimensions so that they can flow on the planet as well. Your physical vessel and structure has been built with that. It is almost to say that if we have to put it into a balance, you are the old and Natasha is the new. You two are balancing specifically. You have had many lives, many experiences to hold this frequency. She has had none. Therefore, you are balancing each other out when you go there. You each harnessed a blue flame frequency that allows you to move and clear these areas. It is not that you are clearing them to create harm. You are clearing them to open up for the space. That is why you both are currently here this time on this planet. That is your role in the shift. You open up these highest dimensional spaces so it can stream in, and from there it streams into all the grids that the light workers have created, and therefore opening up and changing things. Then there's different groups who use that frequency to open up and move things into something else, and so everything starts flowing.
So we're kind of those traveling light workers, similar to Lawrence.
Yes.
Okay.
If we could put it into that way, but you are not a part of his, but he is more part of the ones that travel to stimulate the currents into the grids, where you two go and you ignite the grids. The grids are there,
Yes.
but they do not have the energy moving through them in the sense of the light. So think of them now as, we could say, transparent. And when you guys go there, they ignite with full
okay.
bright gold color.
To activate them.
Yes.
Okay.
The same as you activated these pyramids here. The same as now the activation took place today.
Yes. What happened today?
Today the 3 opened here. The portals, the 3 pyramids that are here in this vicinity by you, only the one was open to stream, but today the other 2 activated.
Which area is this?
This is now here by this Lion's Head.
What happened at Lion's Head?
Lion's Head portal was stimulated with the frequency and opened, but the Devil's Peak, Lion's Head, and the Signal Hill in front of it are 3 pyramids. These 3 pyramids together have now opened alignment. That one was open to stimulate frequency, but you and Natasha activated the other 2 now. With that one, they've connected to the Tilbach mountain range cove as well as there in Drakensberg, and right now only from those mountain ranges where you are and here that energy streaming out into the field of the planet.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that's why Lawrence's session had, because I wasn't understanding that. I'll maybe send him this video as well. That's why Lawrence's session had to happen, so that, or we had to shift the session so that me and Natasha could go to the mountains and then come back, do the session, and then these other 3 would be activated. These 3 would be activated.
Yes. And his frequency was part of those that locked this electromagnetic field around these areas. When he was from that dimensional planet moving in and out the mountains when the planet was created, and when these pyramids were created, he was a part of the frequency that sealed them when the planet went through this dormant state between the 4th and the 5th, so that all these things could play out. And then only now, once it started to activate, he had that ability to open it up through his frequency and release it, and you guys could ignite it.
Okay, so
and that is the same that you would do in New York.
But why is it important to them for it to be ignited?
Because when they ignite it, they create the frequency field, and then you can pull in more frequency. It is to say, to think of this now. The 5th dimension cannot be in the physical if the 6th, 7th, and 8th dimension is not around the planet in the energetical. The same as when the 3rd was in the physical, it was the 4th, 5th, and 6th was in the energetical. And that is why most higher selves, or people connecting at that time to higher selves, could only go up to the 6th, because that was the only one that was closest of the highest around the planet. But now in this next shift that the physical is becoming 5th dimensional, it is now the 6th, 7th, and 8th that is hovering around the planet.
Okay, so but these mountains opening, for instance, these 3 here in our mountain range in Cape Town, with them opening, is that connecting more to an 8th dimensional or 5th dimensional?
So that is connecting to 8th.
Okay.
That is the first time 8th is now energetically around the planet.
In the mountains?
Yes, so it is that mountain is streaming out at certain times. It is not a constant flow, but at certain times when the synchronicities are right with the planet of certain star alignments and different frequencies, they release some of the 8th dimension into, as we could say, the energetical atmosphere, and then they close. And that allows to hover to start helping the upgrade, because the more that's in the energetical vicinity, the more this, as we could say, 5th dimension is taking place into the physical. It's already in the physical energy stream around, but none are allowing it to flow through the vessels and connecting it and living in it.
And what is that connection to New York?
New York, in the building that you guys are going to go, at the bottom there is a crystal pyramid. There's a crystal frequency pyramid. But this one's frequency around that building and that intention, the way that the building was placed, the intention was to only project through male energy and none of the female. So now when you're going there, you are bringing this exact 8th dimensional energy into that area, but now you are setting it with male and female, because that is the 8th. There's the unity between the two.
Yes. Okay, so you're saying with this 8th dimensional frequency, it's raising our frequencies to get more to that 5D. So it's almost bringing a higher dimension in, or higher frequency, just to get everyone in the middle ground.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, is there anything else? Can I just ask also that Esesani art was all over that hotel we went to? Was the guy who painted it and sculpted it, carved it, he was obviously in contact with these beings, right?
Yes.
That's why he had that information.
Yes. But he did not have physical contact with them. It was more in, as we could say, sleep state. That is why they like to come like that.
Yes.
But also he did have meditational states where he interacted with them.
So he kind of saw it in his mind's eye. That's why he was able to carve and paint. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, anything else for us today?
Nothing at this time. We think you two are doing a really good job. So far, everything is looking good with the alignments. We would just tell you to just, as the same as with him, is to just start to now actively create that conscious shift in the mind and truly try to work with the frequency when you are moving around. It is to find that, as we would say, sweet spot where you guys are so peaceful in state that you pick up on everything around you, that you actually become everything around you. It is the weirdest way of giving you this kind of frequency to absorb in, but you will understand it. Once you've achieved it and you felt it from that state, it would make sense to you.
Yes, but I'm sick of traveling and then never being able to sleep.
Yes, but you'll see the more that you guys start traveling together, the better it will be.
Yeah.
It is almost to say that is why you two are a nice unit, because of certain abilities that you have and certain abilities that Natasha has. You guys help each other. It is more that we would want to say yin and yang, but not really. It's not that you are opposites of each other, but it's you each bring a different perspective to the playground. And Natasha has this type of field that can seal things in and block things from communicating with you and things like that. And you have this field of opening her up so that she could start interacting with things. So you two are playing into each other's fields.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. Are we complete today?
Yes.
Thank you.